All right. You ever feel like your pet is reading your mind? Like they know exactly what you're thinking before you even say or do anything? Well, this is what we're going to be talking about today. This is my dog, Oscar. This is what we're going to be talking about today. Is your pet reading your mind? And if they are, they are. But if they are, we're going to talk about how they're doing it. And then I'm going to actually take you through a little exercise where you can practice this. So I knew that would only last a minute. Okay, so my name is Danielle MacKinnon. I'm an animal communicator, which means pet psychic. This is our time together where we're going to talk about pets reading minds. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart because I'm an animal communicator and because before I knew that animal communication existed, I was convinced my pets were reading my mind. Later on, I'm going to take questions. I'll do readings. I call them Sniff Notes because they're these quick little fun readings that we can do. And we're also going to talk about blocking. If you're worried that you're blocking signs from your pet on the other side, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to take you through an exercise that will open that up for you as well. So we've got a lot planned right now. All right. So have you ever had this experience? Let's say you have a dog and you think about, I want to go for a walk. And you just think it. And then your dog gets up and starts stretching like, let's go. And you didn't move. You didn't change your demeanor. You just thought, hey, I think I want to go for a walk. Or you're thinking about feeding the cat and the cat goes over to the food. Or you have a pet that has separation anxiety and I can tell you this is something that we're dealing with in my house right now. All my husband has to do is think, I gotta leave soon. And the energy in the house changes because my dog, Oscar, who you just met, actually goes to the door and starts pacing. These are real things that happen, and I want to explain to you why and how they're happening, because when you know why and how they're happening, it can help you work with this better because, your pets are reading your mind. They're not doing it like old school fortune tellers on cartoons. They're actually in tune with your mind. They're actually in tune with your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, your desires, your intentions, your emotions. And that's what we're going to go through today before I show you a fun little exercise to actually work with it, to start using it to your advantage. All right. So how do I want to do it? All right. The first way that animals will go about, I have a broken elbow, so I can't make quotes well. So we're just going to go like this. This doesn't bend more. The first way we're going to talk about how animals read your mind, and they really are doing this, is actually through your emotions. Now, this is a really common way that animals are tuning into us intuitively. In their everyday lives, they've got intuition going on. They've got, they kind of like connect out in their world in order to survive. Like they're not, they don't just have the five senses. And I think that a lot of us don't give animals credit for being as intuitive as they are. So animals need to develop these senses in order to survive in the world. Like that's that simple. So animals not only develop the senses that we're going to talk about in a moment, which are more common, but they develop these, I'm sorry, getting distracted by the chat. They develop these senses like sensing emotional changes. So what happens is, I'm going to use my husband and Oscar as an example. My husband has, let's call them challenges. I hope he doesn't listen, around planning and leaving the house because he's always running behind. So what does he do? He sits there, he's on the sofa and he's thinking, hey, I got to leave soon. And it changes, his emotions change because he's starting to get a little like, uh-oh, I've got to leave soon. Got a lot to do. I might be behind. He's always behind. Now, he doesn't even have to move, but Oscar has the ability, just like all of your pets, to actually tap in to the emotional changes in Kevin. And this is really important because I use the phrase tap in, but I don't mean tap in. I don't mean tap in. What I mean, because tap in sounds like I'm choosing in this moment to tap in, and there are other times when I'm not tapping in. No. Our animals are tapped in all the time. So when our emotions change, when I get more heightened, when I'm excited, when I'm sad, whatever it is, they know immediately. It's not like they're not paying attention and then they decide to tap in and then they know. They know as soon as it happens, because between our animals and us, that intuitive connection is always in place. And this is really important. We forget, we don't realize, or we just didn't ever know that intuition was always in place. So we kind of think, oh, they're not paying attention right now. No, maybe in the 3D physical world, they're not paying attention. Like maybe they look like they're over there scratching their butt or playing with doing whatever. But intuitively, at this deeper level, they are always clued into us. So it was funny to watch my husband realize. I think I was in Costa Rica at the time when he realized it. He was like, I would just be sitting on the sofa and I would think about it. And Oscar would get nervous and anxious. So the emotional changes, positive or negative, it doesn't matter. The emotional changes that we experience, the animals can tap into and react. And not only react to, but Oscar's not just reacting to Kev, my husband, saying in his head, oh, I got to get going. He's also reacting to what he knows that means, because animals also tap into our thoughts and our intentions. So these are two different things. So Kev in his head saying, I have to get going. Oscar has separation anxiety. So he hears that. Oh, Kev has to get going and knows what it means. Kev also has an intention behind that. Oh, I have to get going. I'm going to leave the house. He doesn't even have to say in his head, I'm going to leave the house. He knows he's going to leave the house in order to get going. And Oscar can pick that up as well. And Oscar's not special in that way. All animals can pick this up. So intention matters as much as the words you think in your head, as much as the feelings and emotions you're experiencing. And animals can tap into all of that. Additionally, they can tap into the pictures that you have in your head. So if you're thinking about a certain thing and visualizing it in your head, guess who knows what you're thinking about, what you're seeing in your head? Your pets know. They're intuitively tapped in. You can't like cut it off from them. It doesn't work that way. That intuitive connection is always going. So there's really you kind of, when you bring an animal into your life, they're in your life. Now, once you realize that the animals are listening to your thoughts, seeing the things that you're holding pictures of in your head. And let me give you an example. I always use this example of if I want my dog to get off the sofa, but I have a picture of the dog on the sofa in my head because I'm thinking about, oh, the dog's on the sofa. Oscar or whatever dog is looking at the picture of the dog on the sofa and not understanding what I want, because my intention is saying get him off the sofa, but the picture is the dog on the sofa. So you always want to line these things up really well and make sure what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're hearing, what you're intending are all in alignment, because that will make it much easier for you to be in this relationship with your pet who's not just listening to your words, but is actually like just with you in a way that so many humans can't be with you. Okay, so now I want to take you through a little exercise to take advantage of this, to take advantage of how your pet is tuned into you. And we're going to do this exercise for both animals that are alive, who are currently reading your mind, and animals that have crossed over who, guess what, are also reading your mind. All right, so this is what we're going to do. You don't need to have, if your animal's crossed over, you don't need a picture of them. You don't need anything like that. You know who your animal that's crossed over is. And if your animal is alive, it would be really, really cool if you did this with your animal near you. So what you're going to do is you're going to think of an animal. Sorry. Nope. We know who you know what animal you're doing. You're going to think of a word that the animal that you're going to work with loves or loved, right? So my dog Tuka, if you say dinner, she is all ears. If you say cookie, she is all ears, right? That is her thing. My dog Oscar, if I say Tuka, my other dog, he's all ears. So I want you to think of a word that your animal, alive or not, just like lights up to in your experience with them. Okay. Now, if your animal's alive, your animal's there, you have your animal in front of you, perfect. And if your animal is not alive, that is okay. It's still going to work. What you're going to do is you're going to think the word and feel the word. So if I'm doing this with Tuka, I've got Tuka who's alive. She's over here in front of me. And I'm in my head going, cookies. And I'm thinking cookies and I'm feeling the excitement around cookies. I'm like really getting in to the word cookies. Okay, that's it. Once you've done that, if your animal is alive and you've thought and felt whatever that word is, and you have to, it's not just going cookies, 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 cookies. That's not going to work. No, because remember, they're feeling your feelings. They're feeling your emotions. They're reading your intentions. They're getting into it in all of you, right? So once you've done this, I want you to look at your pet that is alive and notice what happens. Does an ear twitch? Do they move? Do they come toward you? What do they do? I want you to notice what they do and take every single thing that they do as not a coincidence, but as if it has meaning. If your animal has crossed over and you're doing this, so now you're going cookies and you're really getting into it. And you're thinking of that animal and you're saying cookies in your head and feeling cookies and that excitement. Now I want you to notice in your body what happens. So that could be your body gets warm. It could be your hand twitches. It could be a finger gets tingly. I want you to notice what happens in your body. Really important. Really important. The animal that's crossed over can use your body to actually send you a message, to actually connect with you. So you're calling on them by saying this thing that makes them so happy. It's like creating a nice little connection, and then they can give you a sign back. Pretty cool, right? So yeah, your animal is definitely reading your mind, and alive or not, they continue to read your mind. So be aware of what you're thinking, feeling, what your intention is, and just try to make those things line up, because whether you are dealing with an animal in your life currently, you want to have a better relationship with them, or you have an animal that's crossed over and you want signs and you want messages and you want to reconnect with them from the other side. And we're going to talk about that in a different video. Whatever it is, this little exercise is going to help you get there. If you want to learn more about this and kind of take things further, you might want to watch my video called Why Your Pet Chose You. All right, so now this is kind of like the fun part. And what we're going to do is we are going to, I'm going to ask you guys a question, have you answer it. We're going to talk about the signs that you might be missing or why you're blocking signs from your pet on the other side. I know that's a big deal topic. So we're going to do that. And then at the end, I will do Q&A and I will do some Sniff Notes animal communication readings. I know that a lot of people are like in pain and they want to reconnect with their pet on the other side. And I want to help you. I want to help you do that. So the question that I'm asking here, and I'm going to have you put in the chat, is, I'm getting distracted because I can see somebody saying, I may need to practice more. It just made me cry. Yeah, it can be really hard, especially if you're in big grief, to think of your pet and think of something that they love and like open that back up. You are opening things up when you do this. Like you know, a lot of the times when I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So Karen, I'll talk about that more. Okay, so here, the question I want you to answer in the chat is, what sign have you been wanting to receive from your pet on the other side? What sign? And this is, you know, you can say whatever it is. There's no right and there's no wrong. What sign have you, what message, what you've been looking for? So Jenny said, I felt an overwhelming warmth in my heart. Okay, awesome. Powell says dreams. Ursina, hi Ursina, says appearance in my dreams. LL says, I've heard nothing. A real message in my dream. Okay, you guys are saying dreams a lot. Awesome. To dream. Lots of dreams. I'll have to do, I'll do a video on that. I keep thinking I'll see her in my dreams and I never do. I want to hear them. A meow in my dreams. Heart shape from Lynn. Awesome. Rebecca Reed, dreams or feeling are next to me. Jill says, any sign or message I can identify as a sign. Awesome. A dream with her to tell me where she is. Gemma says, just to know Silky's okay, maybe appearing in a dream, or maybe a glimpse of her, or feeling her, or bark, or sound. I love it. I love that you're open to all these different ways. That's awesome. Cloud pictures of my pet. Another dream, feel her presence near me, to feel her fur brushing against me, hear him walking on my wood floor again. Is that possible? Yeah, that's possible. Awesome. Paul says, hello, I can feel lucky by my feet all the time. Lost her back in 1986. Wow. Yeah, that is a wow. Monarch butterflies. My, I heard my other who passed. Bark. Okay. All right, you guys, that's, those are some cool signs. And who is it that you're, the next question real quick is, who is it that you are wanting these signs from? And this is a really important question for me to ask you to put the name of that animal here, because what I feel happens is when you guys start writing in the chat all the names of the animals that, oh, this is who I want to hear from. This is what I'm looking for. When you're doing that, what it does is it actually kind of calls everybody in to this that we're doing here. And there go a lot of names. Manny, Simon, Lucky, Bentley, Noche, Silky, Miles, Bella, Abby, Manny, Coco, Nikki, Osha, Gracie, Max, Dolly, Winnie, White Sox, Alani, Susie, Blue and Tara, Millie, Chanel, Picamez, Loxy, Phoenix, Hockey, Squeaky, Milo, Lily, Molly, Collie. Awesome. If I missed you, I didn't. Sabinka, Neo, Jake, Bentley. So what we're doing in this moment, because we're just about to start talking about missing signs, is we are building the energy to get this really moving for us. Okay. Do we feel ready? I think we feel ready. Okay. I think we feel ready. I know that this is going to be a heavy one. And what we will do after is I'll talk about how this, and then after you will, I'll do some Sniff Notes readings and answer your questions. Okay. So Oh, you're still bringing them in. All right, here we go. Are you blocking signs from your pet in the afterlife? So many people want desperately to hear from their pet in the afterlife, hear from their pet on the other side, have a dream about them, or smell them, or have some incredible message happen. And yet they're not getting the signs. And if you're here on my channel, you've probably looked through my videos to see that I have a lot of videos about these signs and what they could be and how they work. But when you are in a place where you're just not receiving the signs, it can feel really disheartening. My name's Danielle MacKinnon. I'm an animal communicator, which does mean pet psychic, which does mean I connect with animals that are alive as well as animals that have crossed over. I kind of specialize in animals that have crossed over, and I want to help you with your pet loss journey, connect to your pet better, reconnect with your pet on the other side. So today we're going to talk about whether or not you're blocking signs from your pet on the other side. And we're going to talk about what you can do about that. And at the end, I'm going to take you through a little exercise to help with this. Yeah, to help with it. I can't fix it. This is all up to you and your journey. But what I can do is I can give you assistance in understanding what's really going on and help you work your way through this. So our animals on the other side do send signs from the other side. They can send sounds, they can send smells, they can send quick visuals, they can manipulate the TV or your phone, they can like you can hear them barking in the background. Like there's so much stuff that our animals that are on the other side can do to give us signs. And yet, when we are deeply in grief, or when we desperately want these signs, we very often don't get them. So I'm going to explain a little bit to you about how signs work, and then I'm going to talk about why you may not be getting the signs. So first of all, when an animal first crosses over, this is what I have observed, which is that when they first cross over, there might be a time right about when they first cross over where you get a sign. And it's usually just like one. For most people, if it happens, it's just one. And then there's not any for a little bit. And that's okay. Not everybody gets that initial sign right away, but those who do get that one initial sign right around crossing over time, it's like, what a gift. What a gift. And yet in some ways it's harder because now they got that one sign and then they don't get any for a while. There's a little bit of a period of time for most animals' souls. Well, it's like they're adjusting to being on the other side. It's like they're getting used to it. So they're still connected to you from the other side, but they're just adjusting. They're taking some time to figure stuff out. They're also, and this is really important, they're also letting you adjust to being on the other side, to them being on the other side. They're letting you adjust to not having their physical presence around, which is why I've seen there's kind of like this little drop off in signs after that potential initial one. And the reason, as they've explained to me for this, is that the animals, so think of it this way. If somebody is near you, like let's say I'm sitting next to another person here, even if I'm not looking at them and they're not making any sound, I can still feel them there. I can still sense them there. It's the same thing with your animal that has crossed over. If they cross over and then they're hanging around all the time, now it's almost like it's harder because you're not getting an opportunity to have a little space to experience not having them there. So you're stuck in this kind of like in between place where they're around, but you can't see, feel, hear, and touch them, but you feel like they're around, but they're not really around. And so I feel like this, like, what are we going to call it? This dropping off that happens in signs right in the beginning is actually very helpful for many people, even though nobody wants it to happen. Then once the animal has said, all right, we're ready, I'm ready to start sending signs, they're going to send signs. But what do they base the readiness on? They base the readiness on a few things, one of which is where you are in your pet loss journey and what you most need in your pet loss journey. So grief, 100% is going to be there. We're all going to grieve. We love our animals, and it is the hardest thing to lose one. How you handle your grief, and if you mix other emotions like guilt into the grief, and what you're learning at a soul level through this animal's passing, all factor into how many signs, when the signs, and in fact, also what signs. What signs is this animal going to give you? And the thing is that you, as the human who's missing your beloved pet on the other side, you can't be like, well, I'm handling my grief like this, and I have only this emotion mixed in, and I didn't do guilt and da-da-da. Like, it doesn't work that way. Your animal on the other side is still connected to you. They still know your soul purpose. They still know what lesson they're working on with you, and they know what is going to be best to help you in this journey. Challenging, I know, especially when you're like, but where are the signs? So part of not receiving signs can be that you are not in a place where the animal feels it would be most beneficial to you at the soul level to receive signs. I know it's sucky because you think you're in the best place, but we have to trust that the animal actually knows what's going to help you the most. And that animal is way more connected to the big picture, to your soul purpose, to your soul's lesson than you are. We humans, we're not so great at that, right? We kind of figure it out and then we lose it, and then we're like, we're not great. Animals, they get it though. They totally get it. So we want to trust that there is a bigger picture to the process that's going on that your beloved pet on the other side is clued into. So that's A or 1 or whatever. I don't know. Okay. B or 2, I don't know, is going to be if you are feeling your grief and you've mixed in on top of that grief, you've mixed guilt. Guilt is the one. If you have mixed guilt in there, it really complicates that animal being able to send you signs from the other side. Grief, super normal and healthy. It's like, of course you're grieving. Of course you miss your beloved pet. Of course you want them back and you wish you could touch them again. The guilt thing, that is a superhuman thing that only we do. I should have done this differently. I wish I'd been there. I didn't do enough. I should have spoke up. Like all of these things. And that actually really gets our grief process stopped up. Because now we're doing the human thing of beating ourselves up. And a lot of the time, what all that beating ourselves up energy does is it distracts us from our own grief, our pet loss journey, from the stuff that is really healthy for us to be experiencing. So the guilt thing, if you are feeling a lot of guilt, I'm going to suggest that you watch my video, I think, Do Pets Choose to Pass? I will link it so that you can understand, or I have another video I can link as well about that to help you understand about this idea that you had some control, even with euthanasia, that you had some control in some way over whether or not they passed, because you didn't. Even though you, as your human brain tells you, you think you did. You did not. At a deeper level, they chose all of this stuff. Yeah. So guilt can actually, it covers up the grief. It mutes it. I know you're like, but no, I feel guilt and grief. I get it. but you're not able to be with your grief and experience your grief and allow the grief. Because when you allow the grief, eventually the grief also brings in all the awesomeness, all the good memories, and they start to intermingle. And that process is actually ends up being healing. But the guilt kind of does this. So I'm just going to ask you, if you're not getting signs, are you beating yourself up? Are you in the grief place? The guilt place. And the third thing that can really block you from receiving messages from your pet on the other side is when you're trying too hard. I say this to my students in my animal communication classes all the time. They are, they want to learn animal communication so badly, right? So they follow all my directions. They do every single thing in the course. They do every single thing I say. And they are like, I got to do this thing. Here I go. I'm going to do this thing. But even look at my hands. I'm going to do this thing. What happens when you're trying too hard is you get tunnel vision. Okay? So those of you who are saying, I want to dream. I want to have a dream. I want to dream. I want to dream of my pet on the other side, and I'm not getting that sign. If you're too focused on one thing, what's going to happen is you're going to miss all of these other signs that are coming in. It's literal psychic tunnel vision. So the cool thing to know about that is that if you're not doing the guilt thing, right? If you're not doing the guilt thing and it's the animal's like in a place where they're sending you the messages, there's tons of messages that are coming in if you can let go of the tunnel vision and you can let go of the idea that it has to be a certain way, look a certain way, and it has to be a certain size, because that would be the fourth thing. Your tunnel vision is probably telling you, I want to dream. I want to wake up in the morning and be like, whoa, like that's what you want. And yet it's never that way. It just isn't. So there has to be this bit of trust in the process and trust in the subtlety of the signs. They're not going to hit you over the head. That takes so much work. What they're going to do is they're going to send this one, they're going to send this one, they're going to send this one. And if you can go, all right, I'm going to stop thinking it's a coincidence. I'm going to stop thinking that it has to like blow me away forever. What happens is you get more and more signs, more and more signs, more and more signs. You start trusting more, and the signs can become more solid for you. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take you through a brief little exercise to help open things up. Now, this exercise is about the guilt and the grief. This is what we're going to work on here, because I feel like this is where most people get hung up, because it's easy to be like, all right, I'm not going to have tunnel vision. I'm going to start trusting. I'm going to start like looking for even teeny signs. But the guilt and the grief is very hard. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying you have to get rid of the guilt forever, right? We're not getting like that would be crazy. That would be magic. I'm not magic, but we're going to do this thing. And it's going to open things up for you to maybe have some more space so that your animal on the other side can send you a sign. Okay, so you're going to take a deep breath in and out. In and out. One more on your own. And now what you're going to do is I'm going to have you think of the animal that is on the other side who you are struggling with and worried about, who you're struggling to receive signs from and worried that you're blocking their signs. So you're going to think about them. And the thinking about them is just literally, like if I'm thinking about my dog, Kelso, who's on the other side, I'd just be like, hey, Kelso, I'm not calling him. I'm not trying for something. I'm just thinking about, oh, Kelso, nothing special. Just think about it. And then notice the emotions that come up when you think about them. And with the emotions are going to come some thoughts as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to imagine there's a bucket here, and we're going to imagine there's a bucket here. We've got two buckets. And as you're experiencing the emotions, like maybe one emotion is, oh, I just miss you so much. I just wish I could touch you, and you feel that in your heart. You're just going to imagine putting that emotion in this bucket, in this bucket, which I am calling the grief bucket. And then you keep thinking about them. You're like, I love you. Oh, I wish you'd touch my foot again, or I could smell you. Oh, I miss you again. Put that in the grief bucket. And then up comes the, oh, I feel so angry. I wish I should have done this different. I wish, all of that guilt stuff. When the guilt thought comes up, you're going to put it in the guilt bucket. So it's basically like we're separating out these two emotions into different buckets. Neither bucket, doing this does not mean that you're not having these emotions. We just want to have a division between the two emotions because it's going to help. So if you're feeling sad, look at the sadness. Are you feeling sad because you miss them, or are you feeling sad because it's like regret? Those are going to be two different buckets. Now, once you have these two different buckets and you're sitting here and now you've got your pet there that's on the other side, you're imagining them and you've got the two buckets, all you're going to do is you're going to kind of like elbow out, elbow over here, not getting rid of it. It still exists. You're just going to move over with your imagination that guilt bucket. And you're going to move the grief bucket here so that it's kind of like, all right, I'm in grief and I miss you and I love you so much. And you're going to allow yourself to be in that grief. And that does mean, I can feel it right now. It does mean some sadness. It does mean some missing. But now you're free to experience that without that other stuff getting all over it right now. I know it's hard, but this is part of the process of reconnection, is being in this missing, being in this sadness, but also I want you to notice that without that guilt there's also this like feeling ribbon of love going on, right? Can you feel the, now I get to be with you like this for a moment. And I want you to now notice that your pet that's on the other side is starting to get bigger and glow. They're like a golden glow, silvery glow, sparkly glow. They're getting bigger and more glowy. And as they're doing that, you're just using your imagination. This bucket is kind of just moving down a little bit out of your field of view. So now it's just you and your beloved pet on the other side. And I just want you to take a moment to experience them glowy and lovey and full. This is reconnection with your pet on the other side. And the signs you've been looking for, they're there. They're coming. And you can have them as long as you're open to them being whatever they're going to be, rather than you having them be the thing you need them to be. Feel how in this moment, there's a little bit of a difference in this connection. There's a little bit of a difference when you're connecting with your pet on the other side. When you feel like you've had enough, you can put all the buckets back where they go. These emotions all still exist, but this was our way to kind of move the guilt aside for a moment, let ourselves be in the grief, and also relax the grief for a moment. Okay. So if you want to find more ways to receive signs other than this meditation, I have a video called 9 Ways Pets Use Technology to Send You Signs that I will link here. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to read through what you guys are saying about that. You guys. Thinking about her makes me cry. Catnap said, thinking about her makes me cry. I understand, but crying's okay, right? This is the grief. This is the missing, and it's okay. It's actually really healthy. You're allowing yourself to feel the feelings that are there. And when you try not to feel the feelings, it gets in the way. When you try to be like, I'm fine, or nobody understands that this is my pet that died, and so I'm going to act like it's not a big deal. Or when you try to be like, it's been 6 months, I should be over it. All of that stuff gets in the way. And all of that stuff would go in the bucket we moved to the side. The grief bucket, the sadness bucket, the love. The grief bucket is also a love bucket. Like, it's kind of the same. I feel the grief because I love you and miss you so much. You may want to change the name of the grief bucket to the love bucket, or it's the grief and love bucket. Okay. So the grief bucket made me feel warm. The guilt bucket broke me. Yeah, that makes sense. What a relief to have just a little space from the guilt bucket, right? We don't really need that guilt bucket. Your animals on the other side aren't like into it. They're not telling you to feel guilty. They're not telling you should have done more. They're not doing any of that. That's our human brain telling us we needed to do it different or better, or we weren't enough, or whatever it was. It is funny how our human brain gets in the way. Animals aren't like that on the other side. Jenny says it's a lovely feeling. Bad Attitude C10 says the guilt hits me when my mind is idle. Seems like once the negative thought pops in my mind. Yeah, Bad Attitude C10. Why don't you try putting the guilt in the bucket here? Like, notice it's the guilt and put it in the bucket. You're not getting rid of it, but you're placing it so that you can be with your grief. I know it sounds crazy for me to say so that you can be with your grief, but we need to be with our grief. That's part of our process. We will never not grieve, but our grief will change and morph. And the more we allow ourselves to do it, the more we allow ourselves to experience it, the more we open ourselves to being able to receive whatever messages our pets on the other side have for us. Had eyes of pure love. They say that grief is the price of love. Yeah. I understand the pain, but your pet is always with you, even if you don't feel her. The guilt is truly hard. Yeah, the guilt is truly hard. I get it. And just remember, that's our human thing that we're doing, and it is not coming from the animals. Okay. So if you want to watch last week's live, I will link it. Oh, I'll say that again later, but I'll link it at the end. Right. What we're going to do now is I am going to take questions and do some Sniff Notes readings with your pets on the other side or your pets that are still here. And let me just say this. This is only the second time I've done this, and I didn't know that people were doing super chat and paying me, and then that the way that YouTube works is where if somebody does a super chat, it's good etiquette to find that one that they paid and then do them first. And so I'm really sorry that I didn't do that last time. I'm still learning how to do this. I just didn't understand. So I apologize for that. Now, I see you guys are writing questions. I want to tell you how to do it beforehand. Okay. So what I don't want is any background. I don't want any what you think it is. And I'm not going to answer any messages that are, did he know how much I loved him? Did she know how much I loved her? Because the answer is always yes. Do they have a message for me? These are Sniff Notes readings, right? So if you want a Sniff Notes reading, it's got to be a dialed in question about an actual thing. If you want to do like a bigger reading, then you can go to my website and get a reading from one of my practitioners. They're all trained in soul level animal communication, but I'm not going to do that here because you need time. If you're like, what is the message? oh, you need time to dial this in and dive in and really go through all of the ins and outs of what this animal wants you to know. Okay, so again, I know that somebody did a super chat for me last week, and I didn't answer their question, and I'm sorry. Okay, so and so what you're going to do is you're going to give me the name of the animal. You're going to give me their alive or not status, the gender, and what is your exact question. Okay, so here we go. So KL, what can I make this come up? Pin message. Where does it pin? Okay. KL, I lost my cat Milo, a lot of guilt, as you mentioned, many mistakes. Are you able to? Oh, what happened? Are you able to please tell me, is he mad, upset with me? Does he know how much? Does he know how much I love him? So I'm not doing that one because they always know. I am KL going to connect in with Milo and ask him if he is upset with you. So hold on. Okay. So when I connect in with Milo comes in looking like a like what you would expect a cat to come looking in. There's a sneakiness and a sleekness to his walk. He's not overly aggressive. He's definitely not secretive, but a little mysterious, but kind and sweet, but also kind of like definitely someone who wasn't like, look at me. He comes in kind of over to the like I'm checking this out, I'm trying this out, here I go, but not doesn't want all the attention all the time. So I'm going to ask him about you, KL. Hold on, do you have a message? Okay, so this is what he shows me. He shows me that you had no choice, that he made sure that you had no choice, that there was no other option. You didn't feel like you could have done anything differently at the time. That's different from feeling like now you should have. He's saying at the time, this was literally the only way to go, the only choice to make. And that was at his behest. Like he figured out how to make that happen. He does show me another animal in the background that looks like another cat. And he's showing me that cat is distanced from you. And he's saying that that you need to embrace this cat. You need to bring this cat into your inner circle and not spend this time in this like regret place about him, because that other, I think it's a cat. It's not a puma. That other cat needs connection with you, and you're holding yourself off a bit. So no, he doesn't show that he's mad or anything. He's like basically saying, I did this. I did this. Okay, so let me figure out how to unpin that. Look at me pinning stuff. Okay. We're going to go to Shelby Hirsch gave me, I don't know what it is, $2.79. Thank you, Shelby Hirsch. I appreciate it. I don't see a question, so I don't know what I do with that, but I will send you love and say thank you. Paul Freed, would my lucky girl dog remember me? It's been so long. Thank you. All right, Paul, I'm going to connect in with who I think would Lucky, my girl dog. I'm going to connect in with Lucky. Yeah, and actually, yes, they do remember you. So I'm just going to ask Lucky to share a message with you. So even though you said it's been so long, what Lucky shows me, it has been long, because I see like like Tom Sawyer, like two peas in a pod, like you as a young boy and Lucky, like this been a long time, and you were like very, very together, and very attached and very connected. And I don't know why it's Tom Sawyer, but it's definitely idyllic and outside and loving and cute together. So yes, there's a memory there and still a connection. And you can still call on Lucky as well. I'd love to, and I have no idea how you would do this in this chat thing. I'd love to know why do I see like Tom Sawyer? Isn't it Tom Sawyer who paints the fence? Why do I see that? Okay, because I don't ever know what I'm talking about. All right, we're gonna go. Paul Freed, yes, thank you. 1986, LOL, yes, all the way. Yes, keep saying yes. All right, so it sounds like that whole thing makes sense. That's awesome. And what's really cool about that is it doesn't matter how long ago they were in our lives, they're still connected to us. Kristen, Cooper, male, don't know, male dog, died 5 days ago. What specific signs will he give me to let me know he's with me? Died 5 days ago. Has he crossed over? Why did he choose me? Okay, I'm not going to answer all those questions because that's a lot. But what I do think you should do is get a full. I am going to answer your question, but what I do think you should do is get a full reading from one of my practitioners. So if I go to Cooper, let's go to Cooper. Cooper comes through feeling. Well, first of all, Cooper has a very dog-like energy to me. So I'm going to talk about him like he's a dog. Doesn't mean he has to be a dog. Doesn't mean I'm misdialing or anything like that. That's not how it works. But he comes through with like the goofy dog energy. So I'm going to ask him what sign. What sign? Is there a sign? What sign is it? Has he given you a sign? This is what I'm going to ask him about. So Cooper. And I just have to say, Cooper keeps coming through looking like Clifford the Big Red Dog, like goofy and unsure and not, like unsure of his body and but like a big love. So Cooper. Okay, so what I see Cooper doing, Kirsten, sorry, is I see this happening. And so he's going to send you his smell. You're going to smell his smell. And it's not like freshly washed smell. It's not like necessarily a pleasant smell, but it is his smell. So that's what you're going to get. I hope that helps. And I do want to just let you know that it is not a thing that animals get lost when crossing over. They don't get lost. It doesn't work that way. It's a perfect process. You always hear people talking about that stuff and I don't know what they're doing. Where are they getting that information? I can connect with any animal on the other side. I've never had a problem. No one's ever been like, where am I? Like, what? That's not a thing. That's not a thing. So I really hope that answers, Kristen, for you. And then we're going to go to Zan, cat, not alive. Is the Zan that appears in my dreams actually her or residual from my memory and emotions? Okay. And Andean, I'm going to connect with Zan. Yeah, so that's residual. You know how what's happening in those dreams is kind of like a little weird. It's not surreal. It's a little weird. It's a little uncomfortable. That's not that. So when you go to bed tonight, what I want you to do is start asking Zan to visit. Let's not do dreams. Let's ask Zan to visit. There's a difference between a visitation and a dream. And a dream could be wonky and feel a little weird and not quite like normal. And, you know, like when it's a visitation, you're not questioning it. You're like, oh, this was so neat. This doesn't feel like that. This doesn't feel like that at all. So I think that I wouldn't call it residual from your memory and emotions. It's more just your body trying to process her passing is all it is. But when I go to Zan needs you to be more, as I say, be more specific. Be more specific about what you want. So when you go to bed tonight, you can go to my website and look up the Dream Connect method. I think I might have a video on it as too, so you can look that up. And if you do that, it will lead you through the exact steps to be able to get a visitation. And you want a visitation, you don't want a dream, because the dreams are weird and wonky, and it really doesn't feel like that to me. And she's going, needs to be specific like that, which is interesting, because a lot of people, when they're trying to get a message from their pet on the other side, I'm like, stop being so specific. But with you, we need to be specific. Doesn't mean that it is that way for everybody else. Okay. What is this? Mariki, I would like to know for my cat Susie, who passed last year, if I've interpreted the monarch butterfly dream correctly. Okay, we're going to go to Susie. Susie. So when I go to connect with Susie, not only did she say yes, she says she helped you interpret that to figure out what it meant, and that you're right on track, that it is her and she is doing this, but that she's been helping you to trust. Like, she's sent you signs about the signs to trust the sign. Like, you are getting more help than most people get. So I hope that helps. Now, how do I get this thing off here? Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm new at this. And when I teach classes in animal communication, I'm the worst. I'm like, don't turn on the chat. No chat. Okay. So I'm going to find one. So Jill Flingler says, what messages has he sent and who is he with? So what I'll ask Jill is, what signs will he send, or has he sent a sign? So Max. So Max hasn't sent signs yet. He's not doing it yet. That's nothing bad. Remember, we talked about this. It's nothing bad. But he hasn't sent signs yet. I want to reassure you, that doesn't mean anything bad. What Max is showing me is that I don't understand it. And this happens sometimes. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like you're not prepared. It's like you're not prepared. Okay, I got it. I know what Max, so Max is going to do a dream, and it's really a visitation, as we talked about before. Max is going to come in a visitation, but you are not prepared yet. So you actually need to have paper and pen next to you, because what's happening is the way your brain is working right now, if you were to get a sign, you're going to discount it. You're not in a place where you're like, I will take anything. You're gonna be like, it's not enough of a sign. So have a pen and paper next to your bed. It might take a few days. Follow my Dream Connect method and actually follow that to a T. And as soon as you wake up, or even if you stir in the middle of the night, lean over and start writing. Write whatever was just happening down. The challenge is getting it from, once you start sending signs, getting it from inside you to conscious you to be able to know that it happened. So we have to prep you. That's how he wants you to do it, pen and paper. Prep you to be able to record it when you aren't quite paying attention. I really hope that makes sense. Okay. And then wondering if Bowie and Cappy, my cats, are together, and if they brought me my new cat baby. And does Capri, these are a lot of questions you're asking here, Shelby. We can only do one. And I will tell you that our animals on the other side that are part of our soul family are absolutely together. So I don't need to ask them that. But I will ask Caprica, if Caprica is visiting at night. So when I go to connect with Caprica, the answer is yes. And you know that. Why are you asking this? You felt Caprica's little paws on the bed. Why are you asking this? She's like, we've already established this, which is kind of cool. You wanted to get that extra confirmation, but yes, the answer is yes. And yes, when you felt that is real, that really happened. Okay. Robert says, I've been following you for a while and you've helped me so much after my binky passed away. Oh, Robert, I'm sending you love. And then Robert says again, hate how people say it gets easier. It's been 15 months. It's not getting easier. I definitely understand. It changes. It changes and becomes more manageable, but it's not necessarily easier. It just becomes like where you understand how to place it within you so you can keep going with your life. Okay. Sophia sent me AED 729. Thank you, Sophia. That was nice of you. I don't know what AED is, but I appreciate you and I'm sending you love back. Okay, so I will link last week's live here. People are really liking that live where I talked about, I don't even remember what I talked about. That's hilarious. I talked about soul contracts with pets, which is what I've written like 2 books on. And I talked about our pets on the other side. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And I love you all. And I will be here next week as well. Bye, guys.